Mr. Ching Cheong is a Hong Kong resident and working for Singapore newspaper, the Straits Times, and he was the chief correspondent of that newspaper in mainland. He was detained by the Chinese authority on April 22nd, but his detention was revealed after the relatives of Mr. Ching's revealed it. And then up until August 5th, the Chinese authority formally arresting him for spying. And then up until now, which is 6 months after his detention, Mr. Ching was denied of access to legal services, counseling services, and his relatives. I think is totally contradict to the human rights Mr. Ching entitled. And we regret that the Chinese government have given out such a serious allegation without any concrete evidence. And we hope that, and I hope very much that Mr. Ching can be released if the Chinese government cannot produce any concrete evidence.
My name is Mary Lau. Chinese name is Liu Minyi. I'm Mr. Ching Cheong's wife. Ching Cheong was born in Guangzhou, China. He came to Hong Kong about 6 or 7 years old. He was raised in Hong Kong, have the primary and secondary education in Hong Kong, and he went to the Hong Kong University for the bachelor degree, studying geography and economics. Then he went to start working for 文汇报, 就是文汇报, a pro-Beijing newspaper in Hong Kong. Then he went to the European Community Center to have a study in the EEC studies during 1982. My husband works for the Hong Kong 文汇报 from 1974 till 1989. During that period, from 1981 to 1989, my husband was stationed in Beijing, working as the bureau chief of the Beijing office of 文汇报. And during that period, I also worked for the Beijing bureau from 1983 to 1987. After the June 4 massacre, more than 40 journalists and staff resigned from Hong Kong 文汇报 as a mass resignation. Is a form of protest against the massacre of June 4 Tiananmen incident. And after that, my husband started Contemporary magazine. It's a magazine criticizing the China's situation and politics. And then the magazine couldn't go on after 1994. So it was closed, and my husband later went to Singapore to work for Straits Times from the year 1996 till this year, 2005. Earlier this year, that is 2005, when Mr. Zhao Ziyang, the former Secretary General of the Chinese Communist Party, passed away, my husband started to search for the second manuscript of Zhong Fengming. He had interviewed Mr. Zhao Ziyang during his days of house arrest. And earlier in April, someone asked my husband to collect the manuscript in Canton, that is Guangzhou, the southern city in China. So on the 22nd of April, my husband went to Guangzhou to collect the manuscript, and he was detained since then. I know that the Chinese authority is quite concerned about not letting the second manuscript go print. The first manuscript went printing the middle of last year, And my husband is the first journalist in the world to report on that incident. And the report was published on the 7th of August last year, that is 2004. And that news was carried by some agencies and local newspapers in Hong Kong, stating Mr. Zhong Fengmin's interview of Mr. Zhao Ziyang during his house arrest days, that how he is still promoting the political reform in China, and how Mr. Zhao thinks that only the democratic regime would guarantee the security and stability of China. For the first month, we listened to the State Security Bureau's people's advice to keep quiet. So we said nothing about his detention. Both me and the Straits Times just keep our mouths shut. And we are in the hope that my husband will be released very soon. But then after more than 1 month, that is during the end of May this year, that is 2005, we find that there is no news about my husband. And it is already over 1 month that my husband was detained. So many friends, especially those from the media, started to inquire about the whereabouts of my husband. So I think in the 29th of May, that is the last time that my husband was allowed to telephone Hong Kong, that is, telephoned his home. So I received the last telephone call from him. And during that telephone conversation, he said that he would stay in China for a number of days. And he was not sure when he can be released. And he also asked me to stay in Hong Kong to work for him. And during the conversation, somebody from the Security Council invited me to go to China. But then my husband grabbed the handphone from him and asked me to stay in Hong Kong, not to go to Beijing. And that is the last telephone call. And on the 30th of May, quite a number of media people start to inquire about the whereabouts of my husband. And so I started to tell some newspapers what have happened. That's why the news comes out on the 30th of May. For the first month, most of my friends from China advised that we should go through a process of internal rescue. So we have entrust the work to a number of friends from China to see if they can rescue him. So quite a number of friends have written letters, reports saying my husband's work and his character, his personality, hoping that the Chinese authority would release him. But then at the end of May, we started to hear news that he might be charged. So we think that it would be better for the world to know that my husband has been detained. So the news go public afterwards. We didn't receive any official news that what is the charge against him. It's only that on the day we received the notice of formal arrest. At that time, one official from the Hong Kong government also gave me a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, there is a passage of news. It's issued by the Xinhua News Agency. According to the news, it said that the reporter from Xinhua Agency get the news from some department of China. In that news, the reporter didn't state what department that he was quoting as source. It only said 有关部门, that is department concerned. And in that piece of news, it was reported that my husband was suspected to be a spy for Taiwan. Thanks to the support of the public, there have been wide coverage of my husband's detention after May. So in all the newspapers in the world, especially in the United States, in Europe, in Hong Kong, there have been a wide coverage. And initially, there is many public concern and support from the some organization like the Reporters Without Border, the Committee for to Protect Journalists based in New York, and there have been other associations, especially the Hong Kong Journalists Association and the electrical members of Hong Kong government. They are all in full support of the early release of my husband. And I hope that all these organizations would continue their support and their work for my husband's release.
I'm afraid that after the detention of Mr. Ching Cheong this year, the situation, the chilling effect will take place again and even further hamper the willingness of the media to covering some sensitive news in China, because there is a saying that Mr. Ching might report some news which antagonize some Chinese leaders, and which lead to his arrest.
I hope that the world community, the international community, the Amnesty people and the Visual Arts Guild members would continue to support my husband, to show their concern to the case, and to look into the matter so as to make sure that the Chinese government won't do anything to harm my husband.